Ratios in the form 1 to n. We need to write these ratios in the form 1 to n. All that means is the first number needs to be a 1 and the second number could be anything. So this 4 needs to turn into a 1. To do that, we divide it by 4. If we divide this by 4, we should divide the 20 by 4 as well, so 20 divided by 4 is 5, and that question's now done. For this next one, it's the 10 that needs to turn into a 1, so 10 divided by 10 is 1, and 34 divided by 10 is 3.4. Don't be worried if you get a decimal here, that's okay. For this next question, the 8 needs to become a 1, so 8 divided by 8, that's 1, and 3 divided by 8, that's 0.375. Now a useful application of this is making comparisons. Mr Vickers and Mr Maiden have been firing some arrows. Mr Vickers fires 5 and scores 42, whereas Mr Maiden fires 12 and scores 98. The question being, who's better at firing arrows? Well, if we write them as ratios and change them into the form 1 to n like we just did before, we find Mr Vickers is 1 to 8.4, whereas Mr Maiden is 1 to 8.2. Now this means that for every one arrow Mr Vickers scores 8.4, whereas Mr Maiden scores 8.2, so arguably Mr Vickers is better at firing arrows.